your materials can open up certain artistic opportunities. In our first segment, I'll show you how to use water-soluble stabilizer to create elements from thread that are three-dimensional, perfect for moss, coral, and all kinds of organic dimension. Next, our guest Diana Fox shares her experiments with fusible vinyl and some of the surprising effects you can achieve with this material. Take the time to master a few new materials with us on today's episode of Quilting Arts.
Quilting Arts TV is brought to you by
the Bernina 990. If it can be imagined, it can be created.
Panasonic, maker of the 360-degree freestyle cordless iron.
Artistic Artifacts, sewing and mixed media supplies for hands-on creativity.
eQuilter.com, quilt fabrics and sewing supplies, international distributor of Fabrics Online.
Gentle Fuse Fusible Web, made for quilters from Maywood Studio.
Today, I am diving into water-soluble stabilizers. I love to work from my own photos and create pieces of art based on them. And I walk around my neighborhood, which is heavily forested, and I got really interested in lichens and moss and fungi. And here you can see some photos that I took. Moss is really fluffy, and I wanted to get that texture. And I also wanted some like three-dimensional elements for the piece that you see here. I used a couple of different materials that I painted and then stitched to get all that wonderful texture. And I wanted those moss pieces to kind of stick out. So can you see how dimensional they are here on this piece? You can kind of poof them up and fluff them so that they're so 3D. So to make these little guys, I wanted to do them out of thread because I thought that would be a great texture. I'm going to show you a couple of different water-soluble stabilizers that I've used. For this one, I'm gonna start off by just drawing a simple drawing of the moss. And you can see I've got a couple of them joined together, and that's because you can stitch them all together, and then I'm gonna cut them apart and use individual ones that just get stitched down, machine stitched down while I'm doing some of the quilting. So this is, you look at the moss, the little moss bits, and they're almost like simple trees, right? And when you do something that you're going to stitch with thread, you don't want it to be too tiny because if you're using a decent weight thread, you can't get those little tiny details. And then you want to transfer it onto your stabilizer. If it's something simple like this, you might be able to just draw it on there. So I'm going to this is 2 layers of this particular stabilizer, and you can put it on top, but you can see straight through it, so you can trace it. You can also use a permanent marker because it's going to wash away. So if you feel like you can see it better with a more permanent marker, just make sure that you use a similar color, because when you rinse the stabilizer away, you want to be able, just in case some of that ink transfers, you want to make sure that it's going to not, it might show on the thread. So next I'm going to take this, and I'm not even going to pin. We're going to go to the machine, and I show you how I stitch it. So when you are stitching, you want to make sure that you cross over your lines a lot. If you don't do that, and you create straight lines that aren't connected to anything else, then when you rinse it out, it's all just going to kind of go away. So I'm holding these threads out of the way, and I'm going to start with just some straight up lines. I'm going to move my hands here so I'm really holding this taut. But I'm going to do a couple of lines up and down, and then I'm going to start doing some circles, okay? So the circles are going to hold all of those threads together because they're overlapping. So really tight. I've got my hands down here. I'm just doing the tiniest little motion. I'm gonna go faster here so I can get more done. But I'm crossing over all those lines and holding them all together. And now now I can come down and do some more straight lines. I'm gonna go straight up and down. Some little curly circles. And you can use really whatever weight thread you want in here. I tend to like to use variegated threads sometimes for natural subjects. You get a little bit of color variation so it looks more real. And I tend to use usually 30 or 40 weight thread. If you are doing something really fine, you can use a finer thread. But more is better right here. If you don't do enough, it will fall apart once you rinse that stabilizer out. Okay? Let's do one more here. See, can you see how it's puckering up a little bit? Not too much though, because I'm holding it. I sometimes use hoops, but when I can get away without using them, I do because I don't really like them very much. So now once I've got that, let's say I've got that done and I'm ready to go. Let me pull this out here. If I've got one here that's done, I need to cut away that excess stabilizer because it's gloppy glue. So the more you can do to cut it away, the better. So I'm going to cut this away without cutting through the threads. That's important. And you don't need to, go around every little tiny piece. But the more you get out of there, the better, the happier you're going to be, and less glue you're going to get. So you want to use hot water. Follow the directions on the packaging. Let me pull this up here. So this was boiling water a few minutes ago, and I'll show you what happens. When I drop it in, it will immediately start to disappear. Let me show you here. Can you see that? So it just kind of goes away. I'm going to throw it in the bowl. We're going to let it sit there while I show you some more things, and we'll come back to it at the end when it's done. I'll slide it over here. Okay, so the other stabilizer that I use a good amount is more of a clear, it looks almost like plastic. And the piece over here, I'll bring it around. This piece, I wanted to do a sea fan, and I love the texture that I get with these thread embellishments. I started out by drawing this sea fan just in black ink, and I actually made this piece based on this one. It was a little bit, when I washed the stabilizer out, it's a little bit filled in too much. Like I feel like I'm not seeing the detail. I think you do better, and this is a learning curve thing, with a slightly bigger drawing. So now all the spaces are more open. So I take the stabilizer. Okay, so here it is. So this feels real plasticky. And what you want to do is give yourself enough space around there, because I'm actually going to put a hoop, an embroidery hoop on and hoop this one. And you make sure that you have enough space for your hoop. After you're spending a lot of time drawing, you want to make sure that you have that space, or else you won't be able to use it. And on this one, I'm going to use a permanent marker in green, because I'm using green thread. And it's not all important that I be precise on this, but if you have something that you want more precision, I would take a little bit more time. So you're going to trace your whole design and get it all ready. And then you're going to hoop it. So I'm just doing a tiny bit of this piece right now. I've traced just this little section, and I'm going to put it in this hoop. So you start with, let's see here, I always forget this part. You want it to be on the bottom. Okay, there we go, thinking it through. So I'm going to put the piece on top of the bottom hoop, and then put the smaller hoop in. Make sure it's nice and taut. You can see I don't have any little, squishy parts in there. It's nice and flat. Now here's a trick with this. Make sure your foot is up. Sometimes you need to kind of scoop it under there to get it under the foot. Sometimes I actually take the foot off. Same thing goes here. I'm going to put the needle down. I'm going to take one stitch down. I like to bring my thread up so that everything, the bobbin thread's on the top and it's nice and neat, and then I can start stitching. So this is going to make a different noise. Can you hear it? Makes kind of a popping noise. And occasionally it'll act a little bit different, like it may skip around a little bit just because it's more like plastic. But I'm doing the same thing with the little circles. This takes a good amount of control, but can you see how I have my hands on the table? And I'm just using my fingers to move the hoop a tiny bit. So I would continue on like that, and when I'm done, I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna end up with something, scooch this back, something that looks like this. And again, you wanna cut all of this away before you put it into the water. So let's take a look here. I think we're ready for a little bit of a reveal on this one. And it can be a little bit gloppy, so I've got some paper towels. And if it still feels like it has a lot of glue in it, and this water's really pretty hot, I like to leave a little bit of the glue in, frankly, because I think it gives it body. So if you want to be able to manipulate it a little bit and fluff it up, it's nice to have some of that glue in it. But can you see how now it looks just like thread and not like the glue? Okay, I'm gonna put that here. And I usually will put it down and on a paper towel, and it's good to manipulate it a little bit so that it will dry how you want it to dry. If you just throw it on the paper towel, then like there's a little piece that's folded over. So I would pat it, make sure it's there, and I would let it dry, and then I would actually iron it as well. So let's talk a little bit about some other things that you can do. You can do any shape you want, really. And so if you just want to have a fun embellishment, you can create your own. It's also interesting to use a different color thread in the bobbin. So you can see on this piece, this is the top thread, the blue, but I used a pink bobbin thread. And then I went back and I was like, oh, I kind of like the pink better than the blue. And I decided I would try a little bit of a metallic thread on top of there. So you can play around with them a little bit. Let me show you some other pieces in progress here. I'd like to do another water scene. So I've been playing around with this. And I did another one of these sea fans. I'm much happier with this one because I think I started with a bigger drawing like I showed you. So can you see how much more negative space that there is, more holes, and you can see the whole thing more clearly. And I could use it either way. I think this is the bobbin side. So I used a variegated thread, so I've got some more color in here. This piece I'm thinking about to use as some coral. And you can also see in the piece behind me, the nest. The robin and the nest were done with fusible applique. And then I decided I wanted a little bit more dimension in the nest. So I went back and created some thread elements that look almost like grass and just stitched them down in there. So that way I have it look a little bit more realistic. I hope you will play with this material. It's really great for certain applications. Quilt artist Diana Fox has been working with a fun new material, and you're here to tell us about it.
I am. It's fusible vinyl, which I believe has been around for quite some time, but I have incorporated into my art quilting.
Oh, I've never used it before.
It's so simple, and it provides a lot of gloss and just a lot of extra where you may need it.
Right. It's always good to know about new materials or materials new to you, because even if you don't think you're going to use them, sometimes an application will come up later in one of your pieces. That's what I've found, at least.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, I could use this to solve that problem. Yeah.
And I can show you one that exactly happened recently.
That'd be great.
So I'm going to pull this. This quilt was made for the call of water. So I created some water lilies, and I wanted to have something transparent holding them together. So I wrapped the fusible vinyl, which is sticky on one side, and I wrapped it onto itself.
So you took it and folded it like
Exactly.
this? Okay.
Yep. And I sewed it onto just with a zigzag stitch onto the edge of my pieces. So I've got two pieces in here, and they sort of free hang. So when they're on the wall, you don't see them at all.
That's so nice. And so is it shiny? Do you see any of the shininess? Or?
It's a little bit shiny, but it's also so transparent that you don't really notice it.
Right. Better than I've seen some people when they have something like this where they'll put, threads or in there or even, something coarser and you'd always notice it.
Always.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the transparency is really nice there.
It sure is. And it worked for this purpose.
And this is a beautiful piece. I really love all your
Thank you.
gorgeous thread work on here.
Thank you. This was a fun piece to make.
And the texture you got. It's great.
So like water lilies.
Yes. Okay. So was this the first piece that you used it?
It indeed is.
Yeah. And
Yes.
then you're like, oh, what else could I use this for?
Yep, exactly.
Good.
So let's talk about this piece.
Okay.
This is a piece near and dear to my heart. It is a story that I heard about 20 years ago. There was a Polish resistance fighter named Irina Sendler. And she worked as a nurse in the Warsaw Ghetto in World War II. And she smuggled about 1,200 children out.
Wow.
Yes, and gave them a new identity and had them go live with certain families where they had where they were safe.
Yeah, they were protected.
So she was the only one who knew their Jewish name and their new name, and she buried this information on slips of paper in jars under her apple tree. So some women in Kansas created a play called Life in a Jar. So like I said, this story laid on my heart for about 20 years. I went to the local thrift store and got a quilt, a cutter quilt. So that's the base for this piece.
Okay.
And then created my little bits of paper with names.
And are these real names based on what, or are they
They
made
are
up?
not. They are made up indeed. Laid my fusible vinyl on, which again is kind of sticky, so the paper stuck, and it also stuck to the fabric quite easily.
So nothing can slide.
So
when this is
nothing
hanging
can
up.
slide. Yes,
And it really looks like a jar now.
it does.
Because of the gloss. Beautiful.
So just ironed it on,
and then zigzagged around.
and then
the
just
satin
zigzagged
stitch?
around. Yep, exactly around the edge.
What a meaningful piece.
It's so dear to my heart. Yep,
Beautiful.
as a parent.
Yes.
in particular.
Yeah. Now, what about this piece?
This piece is a city that is made up, and I now call it Foxylvania. This piece was created for the theme of improv at the corner. So what I did is I've got the sunlight is coming from this way. So I wanted to have this half of the piece reflect that the sunshine is hitting on the windows. So I use the fusible vinyl for the windows. This side is more in shadow, so it has no vinyl.
Yeah, and you use darker values on this side in general than here too.
Yes, so it's mostly pieced, and I really like the addition of the vinyl.
Yeah, so you used it here, I can see.
Yes.
Little bits
here.
Did you look at actual photos of buildings to kind of get an idea?
I sure did.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's some over here too.
And there's a little bit over here.
So did you stitch through this vinyl?
I did.
And what was your experience with stitching through it?
It was super easy. And with most machines, you can find a foot that is like a Teflon coat. So you either will freehand stitch it or use this Teflon foot.
Okay.
And then it doesn't stick.
Stitches right through.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, great.
And it does come in matte or glossy.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Okay, so you brought a little project so that we can show people how to use this.
Exactly.
So let's slide this down a little bit, and we'll bring this in. So you just have to figure out if you want the massy, the glossy or the matte.
Exactly.
And what application. Yeah.
Yep. So we are going to do some luggage tags today. We're going to create some luggage tags. These two I've already created. This one is ready for you to fuse.
Yeah.
But we're going to take this one to the sewing machine, and I'll show you how quick and easy it is to make the base.
Great. Okay, well, let's grab that and go to the machine.
Very good.
All right.
So, Susan, what I've got in here is a very thick piece of,
It's like a batting.
like
with
a batting.
stiff batting.
Super stiff. Yep.
So it keeps some body on the little tag.
Exactly. So I'm going to center that in here, flip the end over, and insert my elastic piece.
Oh, it's nice that it's elastic on a luggage tag too. I always struggle with the ones that aren't elastic.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm giving it about a 1/2 inch. I believe I've cut my elastic at 11 inches because I found that that has enough give.
All right.
So first I'm just going to
You're starting at the folded edge, it looks like.
correct, give it a quick straight stitch to hold the edges.
And you do that before you do the satin stitch?
I do.
So that it's all held together?
Correct. Yep.
And looks like you're using, is it a cotton thread? Or
It is.
Okay. I guess it doesn't matter really. You could just match it to whatever your fabric is.
I would, absolutely. So getting all my edges sewn down. What I pulled out of my cabinet this morning for the fabric is actually a piece of Japanese cotton.
It's beautiful.
It's really a very nice application.
And you went all the way around even on the folded edge?
I did.
Okay.
And then now I'm going to zigzag the edge just to give it a nice little finish to keep ravels from happening and
Tell me a little bit, the next time you come to a corner, about how you handle the corners, how you pivot the corners.
I stop my needle on the outside of the piece, and
And then you have to be real careful.
yes, you have to get it right next to that edge.
Okay.
Very, very
so you're
close.
coming, show me on this one. You're coming up.
Certainly. And then I'm going to stop. I'm going to give it one more. So I'm right at the corner,
Okay, I see that.
and then pivot right there.
And you're bumping it right up
Very
against
careful.
the needle now.
It's right up against that needle.
And do you like the plastic foot so you can see through a little bit better?
Exactly. Yeah, that plastic foot's a lifesaver.
And when you're zigzagging, you always have to make sure you have a foot with a big enough opening to accommodate that.
That's right. Because otherwise you will be unhappy breaking a couple needles. And then we're going to cut that thread. And there's your base.
Looks great.
It does, doesn't it?
Okay.
Okay.
You ready to fuse?
We're
Let's head
ready to
back.
fuse.
All right, so now we're ready to fuse the vinyl. And you're going to walk
sure
me through this?
Are. Yes. Super simple. What I'd like you to do is peel your vinyl off of the backing.
Okay. And so is there a sticky side?
There is a sticky side.
Okay. I can feel this side sticky.
So put your sticky side down. I'm going to hold your cards. Start at the top.
And it's going to go under the zigzag or just kind of on top
Right.
of it?
It'll abut your zigzag.
Okay.
There
I
we
think I'm
go.
good.
There we go.
All right.
So it's now applied. We're going to use a medium heat iron following the directions on the package.
Right, because there are different brands of this,
There
right?
are, yes. A number of different brands.
So I'm going to put it here and cover it with the Teflon sheet.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then you'll iron it for 8 seconds.
All right. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 5, 1006, 1007, 1008. You think I'm good?
I think you're good.
Okay. And then are we supposed to press it from the back if it's just onto a regular piece of fabric?
Exactly.
But in this case, we
It's
probably
too
don't need
thick,
to.
so
Okay.
we won't.
So do you need to let it cool?
I think you can peel it off.
Okay. There we go.
There you are.
Okay, nice. So it is still warm.
Okay.
But it's not, it's not sticky here.
Nope.
And all the information is sealed in there.
Exactly.
Which is great.
So you're ready to travel.
That's wonderful. I appreciate that. Yeah, I can think of lots of different applications for this.
You can put it on baby bibs, on placemats, on cosmetic bags. There's so many uses for this product.
Oh, anytime you need something kind of to be waterproof.
Yes, water
a little bit.
resistant.
Okay. Right. Because
exactly.
the water could still seep in along the seams and everything. but
Exactly.
yeah, that would be a big help.
So manufacturer says water resistant.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're
Really
welcome. Thank
appreciate
you for
it.
having me.
Yes. Thanks so much. We'll be back in just a minute.
From applied design theory to innovative technique, learn what fellow artists are up to within the art quilting community. Join us for Finishing Touches. Fabulous Flowers was a really popular Quilting Arts challenge. It's like we're getting a glimpse into your backyard.
Or your garden.
Yeah, your garden.
Yeah. So this one's like a woodland scene almost too, right?
Yeah, gorgeous wool in the background that is stitched down with machine stitch to create a beautiful base for all the layers to come.
And this looks like it's felted wool with a lot of embroidery.
So many different textural elements. It just draws you right in. You want to look at every tiny little stitch. And I love the way they've used this outer stitch, this blanket stitch all the way around, and it is a perfect match to the flowers in the center of the piece.
And I like how when it looks like you're in front of the trees and you're looking out maybe into a meadow with those orange flowers and the bright chartreuse too.
Yeah, there's a really nice sense of depth. So this piece, again, has a beautiful background that's stitched with a pebble stitch to keep it nice and flat to allow that to sing.
And you get entries from all countries, and this one is from Japan too.
Yeah, Japan.
Yeah.
So they've taken the applique elements and built them all the way around. It's almost like a Fibonacci swirl. It draws the eye in, and this complementary color scheme really works.
She also used a little bit of paint along some of these edges as more of a highlight, like the light is hitting the flower. Well, I like how it's almost like you're looking through their eyes into their garden when you look at these pieces.
They're really telling a story.
Yeah. Make time for contemporary quilting every day.
Visit our website, quiltingarts-tv.com, for access to selected project instructions, ideas, tips, and techniques from this season of Quilting Arts TV. If you enjoyed today's episode and want to see more contemporary quilting techniques and inspiring guests, a digital download of the entire Quilting Arts TV series is available for $29.99, or receive both the digital download and a subscription to the magazine for $59.95. Available at quiltingarts-tv.com. Quilting Arts TV is brought to you by
The Bernina 990. If it can be imagined, it can be created.
Panasonic, maker of the 360-degree freestyle cordless iron.
Artistic artifacts, sewing and mixed media supplies for hands-on creativity.
eQuilter.com, quilt fabrics and sewing supplies, international distributor of Fabrics Online.
Gentle Fuse Fusible Web, made for quilters from Maywood Studio.